Hello, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Blessings to all of you out there in social media land. But this is the day that the Lord have made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. Just coming on, making an appearance this evening. Been kind of missing for a while, but I've been working on an assignment that God has given me. So I kind of had to be in a little isolation there and work on it and let God lead me and direct me how to present it. And this is what the Lord gave me. Um, I've heard uh, so many uh, make the statement that nobody uh, prepared me for this. Nobody prepared me for this. And coming from a lot of first ladies that been called into the ministry with their husband. And coming in with fear and uncertainty and insecurity and need some seeking for some guidance and instructions. And what better way to do it than to put it in a book? So the Lord put it in my spirit that it's time for me to share some of the lessons and experiences that I learned through my 35 years of being a first lady. And if I can encourage one, build one up, encourage them uh, to build their faith up and to believe in themselves and to know that they are enough. That they are enough. A lot of time when women come into the ministry and they feel so insufficient and wondering why, if I can do the job and but when the Lord called you, he knew whether you could do the job or not. And whom the Lord calls, he qualifies. And how does he qualify them? Through his word, through experience, through mentors, through people speaking into your life. Uh, he sent me by to tell you that you are not alone in this. That as long as you seek the Lord and put him first, and I am going to be doing some teaching on the series called The Blueprint, the First Lady's Blueprint. I have written two books now. The first book is called The Journey of a Preacher's Wife. The Journey of a Preacher's Wife. And now God has moved up on my heart to write the second book. When I read the first book, at the end of the book, I made a statement to be ready because a second book was coming. I didn't know when, but I always believe in God's timing. I live my life on God's timing, depending on God's timing, waiting on God's timing. So he moved up on my heart and said that the time is now. It's time to um, write the second book. So I have written the second book, and it is getting ready for publishing. So leading up to the publishing and the launching of my second book, I'm going to be doing uh, 10 weeks of teaching. My second book has 10 chapters, and I will be taking highlights from each chapter every week, teaching on the First Lady's Blueprint, talking about how to thrive in ministry without losing yourself. How to thrive in ministry without losing yourself. So many first ladies lose themselves because you can get lost in the title. You can get lost in the expectation of the people. You can get lost in trying to take care of everybody else and neglecting your own well-being. So there is so much encouragement that I can share with you from the lesson that I've learned over the 35 years I was a first lady. And God told me, he said, I put too much in you to keep it to yourself. He said, you can put that in a book and let it go far and wide and reach beyond, reach cross cultures, to reach beyond other denominational backgrounds, reach genders all across the world. The first book I wrote, God blessed it, and it went so fast because there is not, that it is said that there is, and it is true, that there is not much out there for first ladies. There's a lot of books out there for everything else except first ladies, and first ladies need something to encourage them, to build them up, and to strengthen them, and to let them know that they are not alone, that there is help to help you to navigate the complexities of ministries, and encourage you how to handle criticism and expectations of ministries. So here I am. Get ready. As Jake said, get ready, get ready, get ready. I am going to be sharing some of the lessons that I learned in the 35 years of being a first lady. And I know that there was some of the older pastors' wives and superintendents' wives and bishop wives that came along before me, and I learned so much from them. I learned so much from them. And now I can tell, it's time to tell my story. God said it's time to tell my story. I learned from them. And now perhaps I can help some of the younger ones that's coming along by telling my story. People learn from your story. And I got so many stories. After 35 years, I think I got a many stories, plenty of stories to tell from 35 years. So I'm going to be covering experts from each chapter in the book every week. But if you want to know the full story, when the book come out, you will have to get your book. You will have to purchase your book. It will be a reference book, something that you can keep on hand to encourage you and to refer to as a reference point. I know when I read about the stories and the experiences and the testimonies of those that is gone before me, it encourages me. It builds my faith. So Paul told the Corinthians, he said, we are to comfort those with the comfort that God has given us. The things that God have entrusted in us, we are not to be selfish and not to keep them to ourselves, because so many others need it. So many are yearning for it. And, people, nobody wants to fail. And so if we have something that we have experienced and learned from that can help somebody, God don't want us to be selfish and keep it all to ourselves. So he told me that the time is now for me to share my story. So I'm making the official announcement tonight that every week I will be teaching from an excerpt from each chapter of my book. My book has 10 chapters, and I will be sharing 10 lessons that I learned. And that's not the half. The half have not been told. But if I can just touch on it, share enough to encourage some young first lady and perhaps some older first ladies, some senior first ladies, because some ladies come into the first lady ministry in their older years, so they still can be young in heart in the role of a first lady. So whatever, I'm obeying God, and when God give us something to do, we have to obey Him. The outcome is not up to us, but we're blessed for being obedient. Our part is to be obedient. So God told me it's time to write the book and share my story. And the title of the book is The Blueprint to Becoming an Effective First Lady. And it's not just for first ladies. This book can help all women in ministry and leadership, because every woman is a leader in her own right. You can be a leader in your home. You can be a leader on the job, a leader in the church, a leader in the community. Uh, there is many forms of leadership for women. So this book can bless all women. So as obedient unto the Lord, I set some time aside. This is how I do when I'm writing a book. I set some time aside each week to write. I allocate time to write, because you can't write a book overnight. I set some time aside. I allocated some time aside so I could hear from God and get directions the way that He wanted me to go with the book. So this is the way that He led me to go with the book. The blueprint for first ladies to becoming an effective first lady. And everybody wants to prosper. Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to learn. Everybody wants to grow. Everybody wants to do a good job. So I'm excited about it. And I ask you that you tune in and spread the word, and we're going to be announcing it every week. And we're going to be giving the inspirations, points every week. And then we're going to be teaching experts from the book every week. And then perhaps by the time I finish, hopefully the book will be ready for publishing. So I'm just obeying God. Help me spread the word. That we're going to be sharing some lessons from my 35 years of First Lady in ministry and leadership. So God bless you, and get ready, get ready. This is an extension from the first book, was The Journey of a Preacher's Wife. Now the second book is The Blueprint to Becoming an Effective First Lady, and to encourage women in leadership ministry. Yes. So we're going to be sharing stories and keys and principles, lessons on how to navigate the complexity of ministry and how to thrive in ministry without losing yourself, because we all know that women, all women, is guilty of taking care of everybody else and neglecting themselves, pouring into everybody else and making sure that everybody else have what they need, and neglecting their well-being. So many women have fallen into that trap. But I'm focusing on first ladies because that's where my heart is, because there's not a lot out there specifically for first ladies. And God don't want us to thrive in ministry at the expense of losing ourselves and losing our peace and losing our joy, and not taking care of our well-being. So these are the stories that I will be sharing. They be giving tools and principles and keys to help thrive in ministry without losing yourself. So we will, I just want to give and we're going to be, I'm going to give them some highlights on some of the things that I will be talking on. The first lesson that I learned is going to be talking about establishing, knowing who you are, knowing who you are above your title. You are more than a title. You got to know who you are without the title. Before you got the title, you have to know who you are in order to walk successfully in the role that you have been called in. You have to know who you are. You have to overcome your doubts and your fears and your insecurities. Knowing who you are. And how we do that, the first step is establishing your spiritual authority. Establishing your spiritual authority. God has given us the authority, the same authority that Jesus had. We have it, but a lot of times first ladies feel like they're insufficient and they're incompetent, and they don't know who they are. So these are some of the things that we're going to be dealing with to help build first ladies up and encourage first ladies to knowing who you are, knowing your identity and who you are in Christ, and overcoming your doubts and fears and limiting beliefs. So we got some good things that's on the scene for this book, and we're excited about it. So God bless you, and I'm going to give some of the other topics that we're going to be talking about from the book. And the first chapter is talking about, is First Lady a role or a calling? Is First Lady a role or a calling? Becoming all that God has called you to be. Know who you are beyond the title. Walking in purpose. Wisdom, grace, and purpose. Serving without losing yourself. Supporting the vision without competing for it. Develop your own relationship with God. Lead with grace under pressure. All of these things that you will be confronted with as a first lady. Ask me how I know for 35 years. Learning to handle criticism and expectation. Building healthy relationships in ministry and outside of ministry. So all of these things are things that I learned during the 35 years of ministry. And God told me that now it's time to put the pencil to the paper and share some of my experiences and the lessons that I learned to help encourage other first ladies, all first ladies, reaching beyond the barriers and reaching beyond generational backgrounds and reaching beyond denominational background and generational cultures. So we're going to be talking about some good things, and I ask you to help me spread the word that these things will help build you up in the faith and encourage you to know that I am enough and that God saw me worthy and that if he called me, he will equip me and that I can navigate ministry, serve in ministry without losing myself. God bless you, and we'll see you weekly and sometime throughout the week, pushing the lessons that I learned from my 35 years of First Lady role and leadership ministry. God bless you, and Have a good night and go in the strength of the Lord. And we will see you next week from an excerpt from our chapter of my second book, The Blueprint, the First Lady's Blueprint, Thriving in Ministry Without Losing Yourself. God bless you and go in the strength of the Lord and be well and blessed. Until next time. And if you would like to plant a seed in this ministry, my cash app is $Empower Lives. If you would like, because you know that it is expensive to write a book. But God always provides. But if you would like to plant a seed in this ministry, $Empower Live. I remember the first book that I wrote. It was so expensive to write it, and I didn't have the money when I wrote it, but God told us we have to step out by faith. And when we step out by faith, God will provide. And every time it was time for me to make the payment on my book while it was being published, every time it was time for me to make the payment, I didn't have the money, and God would always provide. He would always provide. Somebody would send me a message or something and say, check your cash app. And I mean, it would be the exact amount, and this wasn't no small amount either. It would be the exactly amount of my payments, installments that I had to make to get the book published. God provided from the beginning to the end. And if he did it before, he's going to do it again. So I ask you if you would plant a seed in this ministry to help this project see its completion. God bless you and have a good night.